Harry and Meghan cancelled again?
Oh dear, there's trouble in paradise.
Serena Williams just officially dumped Meghan Markle for Emma Thin, the Marchioness of Bath, and the whole thing is mortifyingly awkward.
So it's a big humiliation and it's a financial headache because that's how Megs was hoping to make her money, selling clobber to the great unwashed.
Why was Meghan Markle missing from the Met Gala again? That's the question that exploded across social media after this year's event. And the conversation felt way bigger than simple celebrity gossip. While fashion icons, movie stars, billionaires, and internet favorites climbed the famous steps of New York's Metropolitan Museum of Art, one very recognizable name was missing once again: Meghan Markle. And this time, people really noticed. The Met Gala isn't just another celebrity party. It's basically Hollywood's biggest social scoreboard, a yearly snapshot of who still holds cultural influence at the highest level. Being invited means more than just showing up in a designer outfit for photos. It signals that you're still part of the elite entertainment conversation. This is where fashion, fame, influence, and high-level connections all collide under non-stop flashing cameras. And at the center of it all sits Anna Wintour, the woman known for controlling one of the most exclusive guest lists on the planet. That's exactly why absences generate almost as much attention as appearances. When a major celebrity skips the event once, almost nobody cares. Twice? Maybe people start asking questions. But year after year, that's when theories begin to build, especially when the missing name is someone like Meghan Markle, whose every move continues to generate worldwide discussion. Whether people support her or criticize her, she remains one of the most talked about public figures.
You've got Prince Harry and Meghan Markle having to try and justify to their propagandists in the mainstream media, and there's not many left now, but Town and Country magazine and Harper's Bazaar, why they skipped the 2026 Met Gala. And effectively, it was simply that they were not invited. But for Serena Williams, for Meghan to lose her support is highly significant because for a long time, Serena Williams remained steadfastly loyal as one of Meghan's only genuine A-list friends. Emma Thin says, oh, we need Venus here next year. Not Meghan, Venus.
Best day ever, right? You can spend another 10 hours here.
Gosh, get ready here.
Venus next year, you're coming with us.
Tied to both celebrity culture and the royal world. So naturally, when she's absent from one of entertainment's biggest annual events, speculation starts immediately, and social media wasted no time. What made this year even more interesting was who actually did attend. Serena Williams, often viewed as one of Meghan's closest celebrity connections, appeared completely at home in the spotlight, surrounded by cameras and heavy fashion coverage. And people instantly started connecting dots. Standing alongside other major figures from elite social circles, Serena looked fully plugged into exactly the kind of glamorous world Meghan once seemed perfectly positioned to dominate herself. That visual alone sparked endless reactions across celebrity blogs and comment sections. Because in circles like these, visuals matter. Who you arrive with matters. Who you're photographed beside matters. Who dresses you matters. Who invites you into the room matters. All of it quietly shapes public perception without anyone saying a single word. And this year, Meghan simply wasn't part of that picture. Instead,
so Anna Wintour loves King Charles, Queen Camilla. Why would she want the knockoff Duchess, who has basically shanked her family and trashed them on reality shows, interviews with Oprah? They've done books about them. Why would she want Meghan Markle then coming to the Met Gala, right? If she loves the royals, and we know this because a few days ago, after they left Washington, D.C., King Charles and Queen Camilla, they went to New York, and they did some events with Anna Wintour.
While celebrities were dominating headlines in New York, Meghan was reportedly attending a quieter private event in Chicago, connected to close family friends. Compared to the chaos and spectacle of the Met Gala, the setting sounded calm, understated, and surprisingly normal. And that contrast got people talking too. While the Met Gala overflowed with dramatic couture, luxury fashion, and non-stop media frenzy, images connected to Meghan painted a completely different picture. Relaxed atmosphere, minimal attention, no giant spotlight, no overwhelming celebrity spectacle. Some people saw that as refreshing. Others thought the timing felt a little too perfectly aligned to be accidental. And that's where online discussions started going deeper. Because in today's celebrity world, public image is everything. Every appearance, every outfit, every location, every photo release can shape a narrative within minutes. So when two completely opposite images emerge at the same time, comparisons become unavoidable. On one side, massive celebrity spectacle. On the other, quiet simplicity and relatability. And whether intentional or not, that contrast generated its own buzz. Still, one question refused to disappear. Why has Meghan never attended the Met Gala at all? That's what continues to surprise people. For someone who exists at the crossroads of Hollywood fame, global media attention.
But imagine Meghan Markle at the Met Gala. That would be her Super Bowl. It's everything she wants. It's flashing cameras, lights, press, paparazzi, attention, wealthy people. She loves to mingle, she loves to schmooze. But Meghan Markle, she is not a fashion icon. Meghan Markle, half the clothes she wears, they don't fit, they're wrinkled. She got all that money from Netflix. She can't afford a steamer. She'd probably show up in those big baggy pants. Meghan Markle loves those big baggy pants where if she kicks her leg, she's gonna fly off. She can lift off the ground.
Streaming deals, celebrity friendships, and royal headlines. It feels genuinely unusual that she has never walked those famous Met steps, especially when celebrities with far less public visibility have received invitations over the years. That's why this conversation resurfaces every single May. At some point, repeated absence stops feeling accidental and starts feeling like part of a bigger celebrity mystery. Because in Hollywood, silence can sometimes attract more attention than showing up ever could. Royals have attended. Movie stars, influencers, designers, digital creators with only a fraction of Meghan's global recognition. The doors have opened for many, just never for her. Some supporters argue the Met Gala simply isn't Meghan's focus anymore. They believe her priorities have shifted toward building a different kind of public image, one less connected to traditional celebrity approval and elite fashion world validation. And honestly, that explanation could absolutely be true. But others believe there's more to the story, because beyond the repeated absence itself, there's been quiet speculation for years, nothing officially confirmed. Nothing publicly explained, but enough whispers to keep people talking. Conversations about relationships inside elite fashion circles.
All Meghan Markle craved was an invite from Serena to the Met Gala. Instead, these were the types of videos that we saw on social media from before the event. Serena and Emma Thin getting ready, dancing. It was almost like the type of video that you post. If you're trying to annoy an ex.
She is the first Black woman to be married into an aristocracy family. And I think Meghan Markle tries to claim that, but it was actually Emma.
Cooling over time, about professional connections that once looked powerful but slowly faded from public view, about partnerships that generated huge headlines initially but never developed into lasting alliances. And in industries built heavily on networking, that matters. One name that often comes up is Edward Enninful, particularly because of Meghan's British Vogue collaboration years ago. At the time, that partnership looked incredibly strong. Fashion, celebrity, influence, media attention. It appeared to be a natural cultural fit for both sides. But over time, the public excitement surrounding that connection seemed to cool noticeably. And people noticed that silence. Then there's the larger world surrounding the Met Gala itself. The editors, designers, luxury brands, celebrity stylists, and cultural power players who define that entire ecosystem. At the center of it all remains Anna Wintour. Her guest lists are famous because they aren't random. Every invitation quietly sends a message about status, relevance, influence, and cultural alignment. And whether fair or unfair, Meghan's complicated public relationship with the royal institution has shaped how different elite spaces view her over time. that reality hasn't gone unnoticed. In circles where perception, loyalty, discretion, and long-term relationships matter deeply, subtle shifts can carry enormous weight. Sometimes, public drama isn't necessary. Even quiet changes in alignment can affect access. Still, calling this some dramatic rejection would probably oversimplify things, because Meghan's public identity has changed significantly over the last several years. She's moved from actress to royal figure to independent media personality building projects, largely outside traditional Hollywood systems. That kind of transformation is huge. And transitions like that almost always come with complications, especially in industries where relationships often function as invisible currency. That's what makes the Met Gala so fascinating. It isn't really just about fame. It's about belonging to a larger cultural machine built around fashion houses, editors, luxury brands, media executives, and elite social positioning. Being invited means more than wearing an expensive outfit. It means you're still deeply woven into the highest level of the current cultural conversation. And that's why Meghan's continued absence feels unusual to so many observers. Not because it confirms some hidden scandal, not because it proves dramatic exclusion, but because it creates a question that keeps lingering. Maybe that's why this discussion continues growing louder every year. Maybe it was never really about one event or one invitation at all. Maybe what people are really trying to figure out is something much bigger. Maybe the real question is where Meghan Markle currently fits inside celebrity culture as it exists today, and whether her place within that world is evolving in ways the public still hasn't fully understood. What's really going on with Meghan Markle and the Met Gala? That's the question people keep throwing around, because her continued absence has become impossible to ignore. Is she intentionally building a completely separate lane outside traditional Hollywood approval systems? Or have some of those elite spaces become harder to access than they once appeared? Honestly, nobody outside those inner circles fully knows. But one thing remains crystal clear. The Met Gala still serves as one of the biggest public snapshots of influence, status, and cultural relevance. It shows exactly who is dominating attention in that moment and who is shaping the broader celebrity conversation. And even though Meghan Markle wasn't physically inside the room this year, people were still talking about her anyway. That alone says a lot. If her absence had been a one-time thing, people would have stopped discussing it long ago. But that's not what happened. Year after year, as guest lists evolve and fresh names step into the spotlight, one thing stays the same. Meghan Markle has never walked those famous steps. And that's exactly why people keep noticing. Because the Met Gala has never been completely closed off to royalty or globally recognized public figures. History proves that clearly. Princess Diana famously attended in 1996, creating a moment still referenced in fashion history. Queen Rania has represented modern royal presence on global cultural stages, and aristocratic figures like Charlotte Casiraghi have comfortably moved within those same elite spaces. So the idea that royalty simply doesn't belong there doesn't really hold up. That's exactly why Meghan's absence feels so unusual. On paper, she seems like the perfect fit. A former actress, a duchess, a globally recognized figure with ties to both Hollywood and the royal world. She appears to represent the exact kind of crossover identity the Met Gala often celebrates, where celebrity, fashion, and cultural influence all collide, and yet she's never been there. No confirmed invitation, no official rejection, no public explanation, just silence and endless online speculation. Some of that discussion points toward relationships within fashion itself. One name that often comes up is Edward Enninful, largely because of Meghan's highly visible British Vogue guest editor collaboration years ago. At the time, that partnership looked powerful. It generated enormous attention and positioned Meghan strongly within elite fashion conversations. But over time, that connection appeared to fade from public view. There were no major follow-up collaborations, no visible continuation, and in industries built heavily on long-term relationships, that kind of silence gets noticed. Then there's the bigger issue of positioning inside these elite networks. Because the Met Gala isn't just about fame, it's about access, relationships, and cultural alignment. Take Serena Williams, for example. She has long been viewed as part of Meghan's public circle, but her presence at events like the Met Gala reflects connections that extend far beyond that friendship. Her appearances reinforce her own standing inside elite fashion spaces. And when she appears alongside major figures like Emma Thin, those pairings naturally draw attention. Because in spaces like this, appearances are carefully curated. Who stands beside whom matters. Who enters together matters. Who gets photographed in the same frame matters. Those details quietly shape public perception. Then there's Anna Wintour herself. Her influence over the event is unmatched. The guest list isn't based simply on fame or popularity. It reflects a very specific vision of cultural relevance, long-term influence, and institutional alignment. That doesn't automatically exclude Meghan, but it does highlight how layered these decisions can be. Because in elite spaces where reputation and discretion matter deeply, public narratives carry real weight, and Meghan's public story over the past several years has been anything but quiet. Interviews, documentaries, media projects, brand launches, every move has shaped how she's perceived across entertainment and fashion circles. That visibility can create momentum in some spaces, but in others it can create complications. And that tension sits at the center of this entire discussion, because the Met Gala exists between two worlds. It's theatrical and modern, yet deeply tied to legacy institutions and established cultural structures. Not everyone moves through those worlds the same way. Meanwhile, Meghan's own public positioning appears to be moving somewhere different. Her recent appearances, including the Chicago event, leaned heavily into relatability and grounded normalcy rather than high fashion exclusivity. That creates a completely different public image. And in today's media world, stepping away from elite glamour can sometimes build a different kind of influence, one rooted in accessibility rather than exclusivity. That resonates strongly with audiences who value authenticity over spectacle. But it also creates an unavoidable contrast with an event like the Met Gala, which is built entirely around exclusivity. So the question naturally remains, is Meghan actively choosing to stand outside those spaces? Or has her position within them shifted over time? There's no clear answer, only interpretation. What's clear is that the Met Gala remains one of culture's biggest yearly checkpoints. It reveals who is shaping attention, who is defining conversations, and how public influence is being displayed in real time. And once again, Meghan Markle wasn't standing on those famous Metropolitan Museum steps, yet somehow she remained part of the conversation anyway. And that's what makes all of this so fascinating. Because absence at an event like this doesn't always erase relevance. Sometimes it creates even more curiosity. It becomes the question people keep asking long after the cameras stop flashing. By the end of the night, the bigger story wasn't just about fashion or dramatic red carpet moments, it was about positioning. Because while the world watched celebrities perform status in real time, Meghan remained just outside the frame, not forgotten, not ignored, but positioned differently. And in a world where positioning often says everything, that difference stands out immediately. The question isn't simply why she wasn't there anymore. The real question is what it actually means that she wasn't. Because absence at an event like this rarely feels random, especially for someone who has spent years building a public identity around visibility, influence, and cultural relevance. Meghan Markle has never been the type of public figure who fades into the background and stays there quietly. That much has been clear from the start. And that's exactly why her absence from spaces like the Met Gala continues to spark so much conversation year after year. She's not a background figure. She doesn't simply disappear from major cultural moments. And yet, over time, a noticeable pattern has formed that people can't ignore anymore. While other major entertainment and fashion figures continue pushing deeper into elite cultural circles, strengthening relationships with powerful fashion networks, and securing consistent visibility inside high-profile industry spaces, Meghan's trajectory appears to be moving in a different direction, not disappearing, not falling off, but no longer moving in the same lane she once seemed naturally aligned with. And that shift is what keeps people talking. Because when you break down the Met Gala ecosystem, it becomes very clear that nothing about it is random. This is not just a celebrity event where invitations are casually handed out. It is a tightly connected system made up of designers, editors, media executives, stylists, and cultural power players, all orbiting around one central figure, Anna Wintour. Her influence goes far beyond fashion itself. It's about curation. It's about deciding who fits the current cultural moment and who aligns with the direction the industry is moving toward. And fitting into that world requires far more than fame alone. It requires alignment, consistency, trust, and long-term reliability inside a highly controlled cultural system. Because despite all the glamour, flashing cameras, and luxury fashion, the Met Gala is still a carefully managed environment. Every invitation is intentional, every seating arrangement is calculated, every appearance sends a message. This isn't just about attention, it's about the right kind of attention inside a very specific structure that rewards those who understand its unspoken rules. And Meghan has never fully operated inside that system in a traditional way. That's what makes her position so interesting to observers. Her public journey has been unpredictable from the beginning. Hollywood actress, global celebrity, royal figure, public exit, media projects, brand development. Each stage has reshaped how the world sees her in a very visible way. And while that unpredictability has kept her constantly in the spotlight, it also makes her harder to place inside rigid elite structures because attention and trust are not the same thing. Now compare that to the 2026 Met Gala. Familiar names filled the carpet. Carefully selected rising stars stood alongside established cultural icons. These weren't just celebrities showing up for visibility. They were individuals who fit seamlessly into the current direction of fashion and entertainment culture. They didn't just attend, they belonged there. And that sense of belonging is exactly what makes Meghan's absence stand out even more. Because by any major measure, she is still globally recognizable. She has the platform, the audience, the cultural story that continues to generate attention worldwide. But influence at this level is not only about recognition, it's about integration. Being part of a system that continuously reinforces your place inside it. And right now, that level of visible integration feels less consistent around her. Even within broader social and professional environments, some of the connections that once appeared strong don't always show up in the same visible or consistent way anymore. Public appearances still happen. Media attention still follows, but not always in the same spaces, the same circles, or the same cultural moments that define elite relevance. And in a world where visibility operates like currency, those shifts matter a lot, because it's never just about being seen. It's about where you're seen and who you're seen with. The Met Gala sits at the absolute peak of that system. One single night where fashion, entertainment, media executives, and cultural power players all come together to reinforce influence and status in real time. It becomes a loop of relevance. And right now, Meghan is outside that loop, at least for this moment. And that brings everything back to the Chicago appearance that people also began analysing alongside the Met Gala conversation. On its own, it looks simple. A private event, a personal connection, a quiet setting that leans toward normal life instead of global spectacle. And there is something very noticeable about that contrast. While one world is built on flashing cameras, couture fashion, and intense media pressure, the other leans into simplicity, privacy, and grounded presence. While one side is constantly chasing attention, the other appears to step away from it. That contrast alone is enough to spark debate, because it opens up a much bigger question. Is this a deliberate repositioning strategy, a controlled rebrand away from traditional celebrity systems? Or is it a shift shaped by circumstances outside full public view or control? Because choosing distance from elite spaces is one thing, but not having access to them is something completely different. And without clear answers, everything becomes interpretation, shaped as much by perception as by reality. Critics argue that this is simply what happens over time when relationships shift, alliances weaken, and professional connections become less active. In that view, doors don't slam shut dramatically. They slowly stop opening with the same ease they once did. Supporters see something entirely different. They believe Meghan is intentionally building a separate path, one that doesn't rely on traditional gatekeepers or validation from institutions like the Met Gala. Both perspectives exist, and both reflect how complicated her position has become in modern celebrity culture. Because Meghan Markle no longer fits into a single, simple category. She's not just an actress, not just a duchess, not just a media personality. She's all of those identities at once. And that combination creates both opportunity and tension in equal measure. In a world that prefers clean labels, she remains undefined. And that makes her harder to place inside structured environments like the Met Gala, where every guest usually represents a very specific role in a carefully curated cultural narrative. So maybe the clearest way to understand her absence isn't as rejection at all. Maybe it is misalignment. Two paths that once seemed closely connected, now moving in different directions, at least for now. Because cultural positioning is never permanent. It shifts constantly. Someone outside the room today can become the center of attention tomorrow. And the same systems that exclude in one moment can include again in another. But those shifts don't happen randomly. They happen through timing, relationships, and strategy. And right now, that timing simply does not align. The Met Gala 2026 didn't just show who was inside the room. It also highlighted who wasn't there and what that absence might suggest about influence at the highest level of culture and entertainment. Not as a final verdict, not as a conclusion, but as a moment in an ongoing story that is still unfolding. Because if one thing is clear, it's this. Meghan Markle is still very much part of the conversation. She is just not part of that room at this exact moment. And in a world obsessed with access, visibility, and status, that difference says a lot. So now the question lands with you. Do you think this is just coincidence? Or is there something much bigger shaping all of this behind the scenes between Meghan Markle and the Met Gala? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. And if you made it this far, make sure to like, comment, and subscribe so you don't miss the next deep dive into stories everyone is still talking about.